episode of America's Pop Culture Magazine, Talking Trek. We have a little bit of a sideways thing for you tonight because we might kind of sort of talk about Trek, but since it's Halloween episode, we're going to continue on the path of breaking the fourth wall broke for us and talk a little Halloween magic also. On the panel tonight, we have the one, oh, by the way, everybody gets to say their own last name. Audra!
Trosper.
See how well that worked out already?
Yes,
Cheryl!
Mac.
This is fun. Charlie! Frito! Chris!
Schneider, Rambo, Stolly, Wild, Draconis. I can't think of any of the other last names I've had in my life.
He's always got to be the one. Janice!
Timborn.
And Nicole! Mortensen.
Wait a minute. Wait. I will ask some of our older panelists here. Does anybody else feel like they are now part of the Mickey Mouse Club?
M-O-U-S-E. Okay, now I am. Okay, so on some side notes before we even get started. First of all, I want all of our listeners to leave a little happy thought for Nicole Martinson. She's not feeling well tonight, and she's braving the storm and coming on anyway. So everybody,
Feel better. I know how you feel. I've been getting over one myself, so it's going around.
Yeah.
we hope you feel better, Nicole.
Oh, Nicole, if you were closer, I'd have one of my cats come and lay on you. That would make you feel better.
You don't even have to be closer. I'll just throw my cat at you.
Have to try to lay on me. Or to a catapult.
There you go. Somebody found it.
And I personally have to explain to Nicole exactly how America's Pop Culture and Academy Earth work. She, in a conference chat, said that she was mortified over the fact that she had so many notifications on her phone today with her name tagged in it. So for you listeners out there, I'm just warning y'all ahead of time. When we start doing Academy Earth, be forewarned. If you actually become a part of the cast, like all of these poor souls are, then you're going to get a shit ton of notifications talking about Academy Earth. The good side of that is, for all the notifications you get being part of Academy Earth, you also get me talking about your books, your cartoons, your movie reviews, your whatever. So, there it is.
That's not all.
What's that? If you act now.
And that's not all. If they continue to listen, you'll include a free fancy vegetable chopper thingy for free for only $19.99.
Plus shipping and handling.
That's not all.
God, I love me, and you can too for only $5.99. Cash before delivery, cash after delivery, cash during delivery.
No refunds, no returns.
Plus shipping and handling. And there will be a lot of handling. Welcome to Academy Earth.
While you're all saying, sending out good thoughts to Nicole, feel sorry for me right now because this is the same cast that's part of my panel tonight that I'm going to have to be doing a live-action narration for, trying to get through time and space with this bunch. So feel sorry for me now.
He thinks it's only going to be an hour show.
I'm
One has to wonder if you're wearing a red shirt right now.
I was. No. Wait, is anybody wearing? I don't think I've actually designated an engineer yet, so I don't think any of you technically are wearing a red shirt. That being said, if I ever tell any of you go put on a red shirt because you're now in charge of engineering, start saying you're a hose.
I'm giving her all she's got, Captain.
All I can, Captain. Anyway, coming back to Academy, I'm sorry, long show. Coming back to American Pop Culture. I gotta stop naming all my shows with an A, man.
OCD can be a bitch, huh?
This is the Halloween episode, and as I said before, sticking with the breaking the fourth wall theme of it being a Halloween episode, I want to talk about specifically to start the show. If you ever go on, like for me, it's Comcast, and when you go on demand, a lot of the different venues that they have, it's Netflix, it's a bunch of them. It's always the genre is sci-fi horror. First of all, what's up with that? In what universe does sci-fi and horror ever go together?
It's very simple. They're both considered subgenres of movies. Even though, like sci-fi itself is giving you iconic things like Star Trek and Star Wars, and horror movies have given you iconic characters like Jason and Freddy, they're still considered subgenre as opposed to something like drama or comedy or, documentary, things of that nature. They don't give it its full due because they don't consider it a high art form of filmmaking.
Anybody else want to chime in on that before I move on to my next what's up with?
They're stupid. Because the people doing it are stupid.
Yeah, I am a huge sci-fi fan. Horror I can give or take, but sci-fi has always been my bread and butter, and I don't usually consider them to be in the same thing. It's almost like having a movie genre about sex and violence. What?
We love premarital sex.
Well, they try to be both.
Oh, I'm sorry. A comedy, horror, romance. Yes, I like that. Yes, there are sexual scenes. Wait a minute.
Comedy, horror, romance, that sounds like...
Hold on. Comedy, horror, romance, otherwise known as your first marriages.
No.
Everybody's had a first marriage. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
My first marriage was like William Shatner's toupee.
Now, it was romance, then comedy, then horror. Yeah. In that order. I just feel like Joe Castro should be part of our panel tonight just because. For the listeners who don't know, Joe Castro is a regular on America's Pop Culture magazine and is famous, besides being a friend of many of the people on the panel tonight, as being the guy who is in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the most kills in a horror movie. I didn't even know that was a thing until he came on our show for the first time.
How could you not know
Is that in one movie? One movie or accumulation of all those movies?
No, one movie. Most kills in one movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose if you start in the subway and end up at the museum, you could pretty much do that.
Well, I'm pretty sure the first kill happens during the credits. I mean, he just gets ready to switch.
Is this going to be a slasher film? Never mind.
Let me put it to you this way. I intend to have a lot of themes in the Academy Earth. There might actually be one episode where it really is a musical. Start singing, start practicing your singing now, guys.
Oh, never mind.
There's definitely going to be an homage to The Trouble with Tribbles in one of them. Again, warning you ahead of time. Get your furry slippers out. Start practicing, wearing them.
If I were king of the bridge crew.
And yes, there may just be, and I don't think, well, I don't count the Star Trek Halloween episode as being anything because it was a horrible episode. But we're going to do a better episode, and we're going to have Joe Castro as one of our guests. I promise you now. It is a thing.
In other words, that's when we cancel Academy Earth because he kills all of us.
Well, because he's going to be like, what do you mean I was only supposed to kill the red-shirted ones?
I'm colorblind. They all looked red.
Destruct session begun. Boom.
And actually, just to contradict what I just went on a rant about, there are movies that actually get into both science fiction and horror. One of my favorites being Event Horizon. Show of hands who on the panel actually has seen that movie.
My hand.
I raised something. It wasn't my hand, but I raised something.
I always remembered the ending music, though.
The ending music of Event Horizon?
Yeah.
What is the ending music?
I'll slap my bitch up.
Sorry.
Well, sci-fi horror genre, yeah. I mean, the crossovers, I mean, we talked about it last show. Alien.
That's one of the first ones I was going to bring up, actually. Thank you for stealing my thunder, Chris. That's okay.
I'm getting even with Cheryl for stealing mine during movie picks of the week. Okay.
I picked Exorcist. That's not. How did I steal your thunder?
Well, thank you, because now I can't get that song out of my head. It took me 5 years to get it out of there. Now it's back.
First of all,
thanks a lot.
just to be clear, okay, Linda Blair was my age. I don't even think you were born yet, Chris Dolly.
Oh, you mean I wasn't collecting? Yeah, I wasn't collecting elbow pads yet.
No.
Are you sure that you're her age? Because if you're her age, you're my age. Because that movie was 1973. I was 13 when that movie came out.
And so was she.
And I'm older than you.
Only by...
That's what you keep telling me.
Linda Blair is now 58.
Is 58, so she's 2 years older. Hey, when you're 11 and then the chick who's like really hot before she looks really gross is 13, that's close enough.
Mm-hmm.
That goes back to me talking about Who's the Boss and Alyssa Milano. Yeah, I had a huge crush on Alyssa Milano on Who's the Boss because we were the same age and she didn't have those horse teeth yet.
The what?
The horse teeth. What? You see her in Charm, she looks more like Mr. Ed.
Oh my gosh. And there goes Alyssa Milano ever being on our show. Thank you very much, Chris.
Hey, I'm just saying, when you got all that money, orthodontists do work.
Between you and Mark Lentine, I will never have anybody who's Amish or Mormon or Alyssa Milano. The list keeps on growing.
Just remember, it's a blessing. Just remember, it is a blessing and a curse. Just think about me every time you want to make sure nobody comes on your show. So Justin Bieber, well, actually, you're a bitch, okay? I saved you right there.
there's a text that everybody has to pass in order to join, not so much the panel, but the cast of Academy Earth. Whoever wants to get on the cast has to actually be able to go along with the existing cast. Okay? So that was true with when Janice and Nicole joined. They had to get through you, Chris, and Charlie, which God bless Janice and Nicole for being able to pull that one off.
Was that a test? I wasn't aware that was a test.
Yes.
For the next 60 seconds. This test.
Well, let me put it to you this way. You guys, both of you guys managed to go through an entire show without being offended by either one of them. That you could pass that test. Okay? Then Cheryl came in.
Now she's offended, but she's offended by you testing her.
Oh, wait. No. If Nicole is capable of speech, let her go ahead and tell you how she tested me to make sure that I was actually telling the truth about wanting her to be on my show and not for other nefarious reasons.
Uh-oh.
Nefarious.
Basically, I told him a really off-color sort of dirty joke just to see if he would take the bait and turn it into something it wouldn't be. And he didn't. So I give him a really big standing ovation for that. He's kept it professional, because otherwise there are many, many people who would have taken that bait and I would have said sayonara.
I would probably be one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I won't lie, I'm stupid.
So yes, and Audra has been kind enough to consider joining the cast when she's not in the middle of writing one of her books, the same as Kristen Stovall. And luckily for us, she has managed to get through breaking the fourth wall.
The real test.
The real test. And if she can get through the second hour, she's welcome to be part of the cast. But that's what I have to do. I literally have, because you guys, you don't understand. You guys are such characters in and of yourselves, and I love you all dearly. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked any of you to be part of the cast of Academy Earth. Okay, but I am both so excited. I am literally honored to have every single one of you be part of the cast of Academy Birth, but I'm also frightened out of my effing mind. Because
Let me go introduce you to two. Oh, man.
I am absolutely convinced, okay, that forever 2 hours that we do, maybe I'll have maybe an hour of scripted.
Mm-hmm. Let me introduce you to 3 buttons: pause, reverse, erase.
Yeah, but you use all the fun stuff.
No, there's definitely going to be 2 versions of Academy Earth: the role-playing version and the scripted version. In the role-playing version, there's going to be 2 or 3 hours of role-play. And what you're going to find out in the scripted version is that only a half or a third actually made it into the actual finished production. You see how on the DVDs and the Blu-rays you have all the left-out scenes? Mm-hmm. If we ever get that far, that's going to be the role-play version. It's like, wow, that was really funny. How come that never actually made it in? Oh, okay.
Well, when we put it up on YouTube and we're not allowed to monetize the video, we'll know. Academy Earth, I didn't know that was a porn. Charles, pull your pants up. You're on the bridge, for God's sake.
I thought they were all supposed to be traveling through time and space. How did this wind up being... Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. I've studied space theoretics. That's not what I'd known a wormhole to be.
Okay. And then we just lost Bill Nye. We just lost Bill Nye as a possible guest.
There's no big loss there. I'd rather have Pee Wee Herman. At least Pee Wee Herman better understands propulsion.
I was going to save this for later, but since we were already off on a tangent, I might as well do it now. I have homework for all of you guys.
Oh, no.
No,
Yeah.
I'm
leaving school. No.
I specialize in homework. I do. I specialize in it. That's all I spend my time doing.
So I was going to read one of the Commodore's logs from Facebook on to the end of the show tonight to make it to make the logs part of our canon, but I decided to go a different route. Okay, what I decided to do, since all of you are going to be regulars on the show or special guests like Audra, okay. So you get to be Dr. Zachary Smith, Audra. How do you feel about that? Our version, because you're a special guest on it.
Okay.
Okay. So what I was going to do is set up a scene where all of us are in the Academy Conference Hall, okay? So basically it's because, I don't know if you noticed or not, Chris, but if you looked at the dates of when I started doing Academy Earth as a possible production of ours, that was last year.
I know.
The first date on that was September something 2016. I'm like, wow, I really take my time doing things.
Now, trust me, Chris. Trust me. I was reading what you were posting today, and I was reading not only the Commodore logs, but the Knight Commander logs from my character. You know, setting up the little storyline that we were doing, and I was looking at the log dating, and I realized, shit. Born Another Man is going to have to go through an edit because I put it at the wrong time date. Because in the logs I said that the Blood Nebula 5 thing happened 3 years ago, but in the book I made it like last year.
Well, I'm about to throw another onion at you because since the logs went up last year, when we finally come on, then I'm actually going to allow an entire year to have passed between the time you and I first set foot on the flagship and the time that everybody else came on. Okay? So, to set the scene, where all of us are right now on Academy Earth, we're at the North Pole. And no, Santa Claus was not invited before any of you go there. There might have been an elf who stuck through, okay, because they are small, so security might have missed them. Okay? But we're in a domed facility that's at least a kilometer long, if not bigger. I haven't decided. But since this is a free production, I can change on the run. We're in a facility which pretty much looks like a graduation hall, and it looks like that because it actually is. And every single one of you are on the dais, on the stage with me, since every single one of you have either already taught a class at the Academy or have been offered to teach a class in the upcoming year. Every single one of you are either a captain or a commander, except for the baby of our group, Nicole, which is you're only still lieutenant. Sorry, hon.
Oh, good. I was about to say, am I looking at all the characters? I didn't know about Nicole's character, but looking at all the other characters, it's like, what the hell, man? I'm a subordinate of everybody. What am I, Ensign Kim?
I can't help it if this cast is a wee bit older than the college cast that I did 20 years ago. Sorry. Where I was the commander and the oldest one in the group, because everybody else was lieutenants or ensigns. Chris, you're the commander in this one, and you're not even close to being the oldest.
But I'm also I'm nowhere near close to being the youngest either. So I'm right in the middle.
It's a middle child. That's always the middle child.
I'm telling you, the Alliance has to work on this pay scale. I can't wait until I'm 55 years old to actually get a raise. This job has already cost me an arm.
Yes, luckily that's not a spoiler since it's one of our intro logs.
Well, it's not a spoiler, but how I lost it is. So that's still waiting.
Wait, how you lost it isn't one of our Facebook logs already? That was something you and I...
All that's known in the logs is that I lost it at the Blood Gulch Nebula, or the Blood Nebula 5 battle. But I never went into details because I knew I was writing the book.
Yes, the Blood Nebula battle, or as Nicole put it, which I'm pretty sure it was Nicole. It was either Nicole or Janice. I'm going with Nicole on this one. The hemorrhoid of space.
Nice.
Galactic hemorrhoid, I said.
The what?
The galactic hemorrhoid.
Oh, the galactic hemorrhoid. I'm sorry. Okay.
I have to give up on being disarmed.
Don't shoot, I'm unarmed.
Unhand me! Wait a minute.
Give me your hand. Give me a hand. Not another one. No.
So how the hell did you land this post on the Avenger? That must have cost you an arm and a leg. Well, an arm anyway.
Or to re-reference breaking the fourth farewell to arms.
Hey, wait! Instead of a robotic arm, can I have a chainsaw?
And Cheryl asked me a very good question, which I feel like I need to share on the show. She asked me exactly what it was her rank, and she said, "Is she a captain, a commander, a captain, or a commodore?" And I said, "I'm going with fleet captain. However, that's the short version of your actual title. The long version, if you guys are ready, because you all kind of have long versions in case any of you are interested. The long version of Cheryl's title is Amir Bridge Captain Cheryl, Knight Commander in the Aegis and Azor Knights, Azor and Argent Flag. That's the entire title."
So who's our yeoman on the ship? That's Darling, isn't it? Yeoman Darling? I'm glad I don't have her.
She's one of them.
I'm glad I don't have her job. Because I'm not writing all that bullshit.
Well, see, what happens is the older you get and the more title, the higher up in the ranks you go, the longer your title gets. Like ensigns are pretty much just like ensigns, you know. Once you get up to like commander and captain and fleet captain and commodore, the title just gets longer and longer and longer because you've accomplished more things and it all becomes part of your actual title. Think of Daenerys from Game of Thrones, which I had this way before they did that, but just think of that, where Daenerys, the Queen of Dragons, has this like laundry list of stuff that when she's introduced, the woman who's introducing her to whoever is meeting her for the first time has to go through all these things. And actually think of Jon Snow. When Jon Snow first meets Daenerys and Daenerys' girl says all the things that she is, and then Jon's guy says,
This is Jon Snow.
King of the North.
He's King of the North.
So, Audra, when you guessed in, you're either a captain or a commander. Charles already a fleet captain. Charles, you're already a captain working your way up to fleet captain. Chris, you're a commander. But you're already the fleet commander of the entire fighter squadron. So every single fighter that's part of the solar fleet, you're in charge of. It doesn't matter what ship, the flagship or any other ones, you're the captain or commander of all of them.
Right.
And Janice, as I said before, you're a commander getting ready to make your mark as a captain, and you're our legal counsel. And God love you, because with Charlie and Chris as part of the fleet, you're just going to be very busy on a regular basis.
I don't have a leg to stand on. I really don't have a leg to stand on.
Wait, I lost the arm, you lost the leg?
Yeah.
Nice.
That thing about losing your arms, you can't wave it goodbye.
Well, I've got a scientific pursuit for the bridge crew here. If your knees bent the other way, what would a chair look like?
Redundant.
Draw that up. That's those aliens in the movie The Arrival.
Oh, yeah. Remember that.
They still sat down.
So, ow, that's got to hurt.
Well, again, the Ark Knight of the Avenger, the ship where we answer all the universe's problems, like where does that second sock go when you throw them in the dryer?
Yeah, really.
And another dryer across the universe.
No, it goes to that great big pile, like George Carlin always said in his whole thing. Remember, he said everything that went missing, it goes into a giant pile, and you never see it until you die, because that's what heaven's for. You get everything back.
So heaven's a giant lost and found.
I'm going to have a whole bunch of mismatched socks when I get there, because that's fabulous.
It's just
Sounds
this,
kind of hellish to me.
it's just this giant box of glasses, sunglasses,
15 years
keys, and
trying to look
socks.
for a matching socks. I found it. Wait, where's the other one now?
I lost a sock when I was 13. I can't fit this now. I don't care, it's yours. Get it out of here. So anyway, back to Dan. Back to your homework assignment. Are we planning to do this tonight, or is this going to be another episode, or is it something on Facebook? Like, what's the actual assignment?
It depends on how much fun. It depends on how much fun you want to have with this. Because in an actual improv class, the assignment would happen right now.
Screw it. Let's do it.
So
What?
This is the actual assignment. You're all captains, commanders, or in this case, in Nicole's case, at the attaché to the Commodore. Okay, so you're basically all part of the flag staff. If the Commodore were to ask you to address the graduating cadets that are about to come on to the fleet, the Alliance fleet, what would each and every single one of you, as an officer in the fleet already, say to the cadets?
Get out while you still can.
Yon yon, good night.
Go home.
Yon yon, good night.
Make yourself on the foot. Go home. On the other side of me.
So whatever you do, protect me.
So, going around the table, if you will, okay, and you can make this fun, you can make it serious, but the way I look at Academy Earth, just so that we have some kind of frame of reference, is that I look at Academy Earth as if it were the bridge between the Earth that we live in now and the Star Trek universe of the future. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be Star Trek specifically, but any sci-fi show that, that space travel in 200, 300, 400 years, whatever. And you're talking to the cadets that are getting ready to go out onto those ships. My question to you guys, and it can be a two-parter, is what would you change about the Earth today in order for us to get to that point? And what would your recommendations be for people? Because basically these cadets are late teens, early 20s. They're freshly graduated. The assignment for our fleet is to actually protect the Earth and all its neighboring planets from any type of corruption of any type of alien, any type of situation where time and space has been exploited. So we could, as I said before, but for the new people, we could literally find ourselves anywhere from ancient Egypt on Earth all the way to the the Andromeda Galaxy, which is the next galaxy over. So it's very daunting, okay? So, hate to put you into the fire on this, Audra, but since you are one of our writers, what would you, and I know you haven't got a chance to actually create your character yet, but think of Audra amped up by 11 and being a flag officer in a star fleet. What would you tell the graduating cadets?
I would honestly have to think about that for a little while. I can't pull that off the top of my head. Unless I think it's, something funny like shoot yourself in the foot and go home. If you're thinking in terms of character, that's a very serious kind of situation that deserves thought because you're sending people out and you need to actually have something appropriate to say to them.
Okay, fair enough. Charlie, since you start working on your character a little bit, keep in mind that right now you're the fleet captain of communications. The entire fleet, you're going to be assigned your own ship specifically for communications to make sure all the ships in the fleet are able to talk to each other. And you're the only one that's picked up on another situation that you're already familiar with. What would you tell the kids?
Kids, we're all gathered here today on this solemn occasion to... God, I'm just running a blank right now. Not easy to do. Let's go outside. Ooh, okay. That's go over to whoever's doing that.
Well, I'm doing it alphabetical order, so ooh's going to have to wait.
Darn it!
Cheryl back. Fleet Captain Cheryl, what would you tell the kids?
Okay. I'd start with a joke that a lot of them wouldn't get. I'd say there are 4 ways of doing things on my ship. The right way, the Starfleet way. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not going to use that one. The actual joke is the right way, the wrong way, the Navy way, or my way, because that came from the Bikini Mutiny. But I would stick it in as the Starfleet. But then after that, they probably wouldn't even get it. They'd be sitting there going, and then I'd say, look, I can never prepare you for what you're going to have to put up with from some of these other people that you're going to have to be under. So just do your best, follow orders, try not to be too much of a, pissant, and you'll be fine. I'm just bringing that off the top of my head. I have no idea what I'd really say.
Okay. Fleet Commander Chris, you're in charge of every single starfighter that is assigned to the entire fleet. What would you tell the cadets and the starfighter pilots specifically?
Good morning. Cold as hell out there, isn't it? First and foremost, let me introduce myself. I am Air Sir Knight, Fleet Commander Christopher Lord Cook. I am in charge of all starship operations, not cruisers, but the actual star flyers, including the interceptors. Show of hands, how many of you will be winding up into the Arc Knight squadron fleets? Very good. I just want to go on record right now and let you know that the easy part is over. Under my command, I expect 2 things. 1, that you will be at your post at all times, ready and willing to put your life on the line for not only your fleet and your post and your planet, but for all of humanity, those that are down here on this planet and those that are spread throughout the galaxy. 2, all of you owe me a round at the bar after we're done this ceremony tonight. It is never too early to start bribing your commander. All seriousness, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you party it up tonight because the real work begins tomorrow. Congratulations.
Well done, Chris.
He came prepared.
I've been dealing with this for a while,
He
writing.
has an actual character. I don't have a character yet.
Well, if it makes you feel any better than the rest of you, he has been doing this the longest. He's been here for the entire year.
And I am, and in fairness, I am writing a book from this, so I had time to actually explore this character where you guys are just starting to come in.
All right. Janice, you're a commander right now, but you're getting ready to be promoted to captain in 6 months. You are from the Judge Advocate General's office. You're in charge of making sure that my other flag officers don't get in too much trouble, that the Central Command, in literally the center of the galaxy, doesn't want one of my officers back because they're just pretty much done with them, and they want to remove them from my fleet. That being said, you have the sneaking suspicion, considering the Commodore's track record for not necessarily taking what we would call ship-shape officers at all times, that you might be having to have a chat with some of these cadets. Given that information, what do you think you would be telling them as they're all sitting there bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, looking at you in awe?
Okay, say that again.
I didn't hear her answer. What did she say?
I said, say that again.
The whole thing?
Word for word. You don't have to talk about the cadet. What was the scenario?
You're going to address the cadets, and your job and role as an advocate for the Academy and Alliance itself is basically to figure out why Commodore Lauren Grew keeps giving us chances where the rest of the Alliance want to kind of shit can us.
Okay. Well, I don't think cadets need to know anything about any of that.
You might want to just to give you a leg up here. You might want to advise them if you're coming onto the dais after me. You might want to advise them that they are not actually permitted to bribe their fleet commander.
No,
probably a good start.
No, well, basically, I would just say, hey, welcome. Follow the rules. That's all you need to do. Follow the rules. And if you're not going to follow the rules, then you need to come see me immediately. If you're going to listen to somebody who's not going to follow the rules, you need to come see me immediately.
So, Janice, are you suggesting... Go ahead, Charlie, what?
So I'm going to be in there a lot.
That's not something you actually want to admit to the cadets.
I lean over, cover her microphone, and whisper in her ear. So is 10:30 good for you then?
And Nicole, you poor thing. Being the youngest one and the newest promoted into the Flag Fleet service, you not only have to be the liaison between all the cadets, all the ensigns, all the other lieutenants, but you have to put up with this ragtag of commanders, captains, and commodores who basically I'm just not all that sure about, and I'm including my own character in that. That being said, what would you tell the cadets as coming into fresh face into the Starfleet?
Oh boy. All right. So my character would probably approach the podium and just spend the first few seconds letting out a very long sigh before starting off something like this. Listen up. I was you not long ago. You think you know what you're signing up for? Think again. This isn't a job, a career, a pension. It's a way of life. You're going to work harder than you've ever worked in. You're going to dream bigger than you've ever thought possible. Follow orders. Do what you can. On the days you can't, sit tight. That's the most real advice I can give you. Good luck out there.
Well done, Nicole.
I'm scared of her.
Alright.
She's the most prim and proper out of all of us for somebody being so young.
Well, you have to understand one of the reasons why I drafted Nicole was because when I explained Academy Earth to her, she came back at me with some of the coolest versions of my own story and her take on it that I'd ever heard. I'm like, oh yes, no, you have to be part of this. That being said, even though she's the youngest of us, she's also a published writer just like Audra. And she's had a couple of weeks to think about this. So, yeah. All right. So after the cadets have all listened to all of you guys, and by the way, since this is the role-playing version and I just threw you in an actual Walnut Street Theater acting improv situation where I'm like, this is your situation, talk. Okay? This was an actual class. The Commodore comes up to the podium and basically says something to the effect of, every single one of you have worked very hard over the last 4 years to get to where you are sitting right now. Every single one of you are going to be part of a fleet that has been, every single officer in it has been handpicked by me. Not because you're the brightest, not because you're the best, and not because that not necessarily might not be true, but because the officers that you all just listened to intently, and hopefully with the idea of remembering what they said today, except for maybe you, Captain Charlie.
Especially the beer.
I can start up with something like, first of all, half of you are going to die. Maybe you. Maybe you, the one that's crying right now. Half of you are going to die.
Hey, wait a minute. Why do I have to die? Just because I'm emotional.
On a positive note, we're having chili tonight.
You said I would. Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
and try to stay in character of being the commandant of the academy. The Commodore says, okay, maybe don't listen to half of what they said.
But listen to the beer.
Are characters allowed to heckle you?
This isn't a graduation ceremony, it's a roast.
And I can have the room.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry, Skip.
Every single one of these officers on this stage, I would give my life for. And every single one of these officers on this stage, I know for a fact, have in past campaigns had my back. If it wasn't for the officers, notice the pause, that are sitting on this stage, I can honestly say that I would not have the command that I have right now. That being said,
Promoted higher.
that being said, party on tonight, because tomorrow the work actually starts. And oh, by the way, I have to reinforce the fact that no, in fact, you're not allowed to bribe the officers, any of them, including myself. Forget that piece. And anybody who thinks ahead of time that they're going to ask forgiveness instead of permission, you need to start talking to Commander Janice on a regular basis. I think the line starts after Captain Charlie.
I get fun. Just saying. So this means I have to throw the cinnamon rolls I made away then? Because I can't bribe any of you?
What's that?
So this means I have to throw away the cinnamon rolls I made because I can't bribe any of you with them.
Well, you can, the cadets can't.
Oh, that's true. Got it. All right.
For those of you that will be going to look for those of you that won't go to visit Captain Janice, that do look to look for forgiveness instead of permission, come see me, because I'll tell you right now, the bridges are not that, or the brigs are not that bad.
Well,
Okay. The Commodore looks at the cadets. The Sergeant-at-Arms tells them to stand at attention. They all get up. They all salute. And the Commodore says, as I said, enjoy the rest of your fleet life. Class dismissed. Everybody starts to leave. The Commodore looks at all of you and basically says, just once, could we leave the locker room talk inside the locker room?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely,
Drinks are on me.
absolutely not.
Drinks are on me. Let's all
Absolutely,
go to the bar.
absolutely not, Skip. Absolutely not, Skip. The locker room talk needs to be out in the open, because if I've learned anything from Earth's history, is that if you let your locker room talk be heard by millions of people, one day you could be president.
yeah.
Actually, I would say that was a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but since we actually are projecting time and space in this reality, not so much.
All right, Commodore, while you guys go out for drinks, I'm going to head over to my room so I can read a book.
Yes, definitely worth reading over drink.
All right,
I'm going to go listen to space. Here.
I'm gonna go to the mess hall and eat about 4 bowls of that chili that we're having tonight, so that way I can go to the bar and hang out with all the new recruits and really give them a taste of what's to come.
Okay, so basically, those of you that are going to the bar are going to the main bar, not the superior officers bar.
I don't want to hang out with a bunch of stuffed shirts.
The fun's gonna be with the graduates, not the senior staff.
Okay. So, as you walk towards the main bar, you all see the same laughter, the same elf, the same dwarf, and this time I don't think he was mentioned last time, but what looks like a cross between a human and a buck, and they're all have different types of ale that they're carrying into the bar. The bar is completely stocked with everything that you guys had at the bar the last time, and there's it looks like there's a couple extra odds and ends going on. There's a couple of new blue drinks that weren't there before, a couple of green ones. One that is a color that is only found in nature when you are releasing fluids instead of drinking them. So you decide whether or not you want to try that one.
Nah.
And so basically I sit down, say, first round's on me. Guys, what do you think of the new cadets?
I think they make.
We're going to die. Who cares?
You're gonna die.
Can I have your stuff?
I think the Alliance needs to build more interceptors, because I have a feeling we're going to lose a lot of them in the next campaigns.
Yeah.
They're little
I
green.
don't know. I saw a lot of them like trying to file their nails and stuff while we were talking, so I don't know if they heard half of what we said anyway. We probably could have said, hey, I'm going to take my clothes off, and they wouldn't even notice.
I would have noticed.
They'll listen if there's something worth hearing. Most of them were my old classmates.
I don't know how many of them are going to wind up on the Avengers, Skip.
Well, if we're going by the fact that there has to be a StarCraft carrier type vessel around each one of the 8 major planets, then probably 1/8 to 1/10 of these new cadets are going to be assigned to the Avenger.
All right. I say, I can't speak for the rest of the star carriers, but I say for this one, if you want my honest opinion, we need to run them like boot camp for the next couple months and really give them the taste of life on a star carrier.
I would probably agree with that because the Avenger is going to be the flagship of the Starcraft carriers, and the rest of the escort ships don't really necessarily need the best of the base as far as the pilots are concerned. The specialty ships like the hospital ship, which I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of hangovers being reported on that ship. The communication ship doesn't necessarily have to have the best fighter pilots, but obviously the best people that can do research, reconnaissance, and stuff like that. Wait a
minute. The hospital ship is the hospital ship still stationed with Dr. Mark?
Well, funny you should ask about that, because Dr. Mark, who liked to liken himself to the missing link, is actually missing.
Thank God, because I was going to say anybody who went in for a hangover, if they didn't go in with a headache, they're going to leave with one.
Oh, most definitely. For some reason, nobody in the fleet who actually was studying the Amish or the Mormons have decided to set anywhere near the hospital ship. We're still trying to figure out why that is.
Wait, out of character a minute. Are we recruiting from our own people, or are we recruiting from Earth? The Earth that's supposed to not even know of our existence?
Well, you just answered your own question.
Well, your statement just confused me. That's why I asked.
What do you
mean? When you were saying of where we recruited them from, or how we recruited them, or whatever, and it's just like, wait a minute. Are we pulling them from planet Earth, or are we pulling them from Heaven's Gate?
Heaven's Gate. Basically, we're protecting Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and so on and so on. But we're protecting them from anything that we would consider not Earth normal. Okay? The premise being, if there really was a Babylon 5 and there really was a Star Trek and there really was a Stargate, what have you, then all of those different timelines exist as what we consider true. Anything that would be inconsistent, what we would consider a true timeline, is where we come in. You might notice that when I was talking in a lot of the different role-playing scenarios that we've done, either on the phone or in this case actually as part of our pre-production.
Which, by the way, we got 5 minutes left on, just to let you know.
Cool. I've mentioned different races that are part of Earth mythology: werewolves, elves, dwarfs, what would be considered a were, I guess, if anything, would be half human, half animal. I guess were would be a proper terminology. So a were-buck.
Well, for stealing from Harry Potter, I guess you would call them like an animagus.
Yeah. So, we go back to, like I told Janice and Nicole when we first recruited them, we're looking at, I love Nicole's version of this, the Schrodinger's cat, where we allude to the fact that things may be this way or may not be that way, but in actual play, we never actually say, okay, the werewolf actually comes from these, at one point or another, a blood wolven is left on Earth for whatever reason, or is trapped on Earth for whatever reason, and the medieval people of the time sees the blood wolven and describes it, and that's where the werewolf comes from. We may allude to it, we may infer it or imply it, but we don't actually ever come out and say, this is where the werewolf, legend of the werewolf or legend of a vampire comes from. It's inferred.
You mean implied?
Implied, thank you. So
sorry, I don't mean to be a teacher.
It's all good. So that's where we are with that. There may or may not be a couple of characters that some people would refer to as ghosts or demons. But again, nothing. Exactly. Well, in that case, it would be us, because if there's something, again, that wouldn't be considered Earth normal or true to the known realities that we're aware of, they call us. Which, God help anybody that calls this cast that I put together. But
on that note, we better wrap this up and save it for part 2, if I may suggest.
Okay, so since we never actually got to Halloween, the Event Horizon or the Aliens or Jason X or Star Trek Continues, Star Trek Discovery, the Orville, or the news that Chris has about Galaxy Quest, I guess we'll have to save that for next time. That being said, Audra, like you did in Breaking the Fourth Wall, please let everybody know how to get a hold of you.
Hi, you can get a hold of me, A.B. Trosper, on Facebook, Twitter, my website, all there.
Oh, and in case we didn't mention on the second half of our show, Audra, what good news do you have for our listening audience today? What happened to you that is really wow?
Today I became a USA Today bestseller. So, I'm excited.
Yay. I'm excited to just know.
Nice.
All right, Charlie, how do people get hold of you?
Facebook, Charlie Brito, or Facebook, Star Trek Picard, The Pirate, Comics and Memes. That's where you can find me.
Cheryl Mack, how do people get hold of you?
Facebook, Cheryl Mack. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, and all those other things, but mainly Facebook.
Okay, Christopher Stolley, how do people get hold of you?
Anything that's got the tagline Realm of the Mist, realmofthemist.com, Realm of the Mist YouTube, Realm of the Mist fan page. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and all that. Just look up Christopher Stolley or Christopher Wilde. Either way, I'm there.
Janice Sanborn,
Hey.
how do people get a hold of you, Janice?
Hey, nice to see you.
Well, you either have to run really fast, catch me, and make sure you reach out your arm to grab. That might be a strategy. Or you might want to corner me when I'm in cosplay somewhere if you can possibly recognize me. But if those two tactics are too difficult, you could always find me online as the Lady Renegade.
Why did I have Pepe Le Pew running through my head? Ha ha! My love wants to play hard to get.
We will make beautiful music together.
Come here, my little pigeon.
Nicole Martinson, how do people get a hold of you?
Facebook, just look up Nicole Martinson. That's it.
Okay. So, since we didn't really do an America's Pop Culture Talking Trek, I will do this in Academy Earth terms. For Commander Audra.
Yes.
Fleet Captain Cheryl.
Yes.
Captain Charlie.
Yes.
Fleet Commander Chris. Almost Captain Janice.
Meow.
And poor little Lieutenant Nicole.
Yes.
I have been Commodore Daniel, crowning Laurel Brew of the Academy Earth, and you can reach me at Facebook, Dan Lauria, Lauria. I'm the America's Pop Culture guy, not the Wonder Years guy. You can also reach me and all of my notifications that one of our flag officers were not too crazy about today on radiocastfm.com if you want to see archive of America's Pop Culture, Breaking the Fourth Wall, Realm of the Mist Entertainment, and realmofthemist.com, as well as Realm of the Mist YouTube, and I believe WKKH-TV, America's Pop Culture Magazine. So for all of us, to all of you, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Take it easy, guys.
Happy Halloween.